a hint. It's not a third world country. Is that going to help you? Musan instead of Muzha. You just call Musan. I don't know what. Okay, so enough of this. First question, Miss Liu. Which country in the third world biggest problem? Yesterday or the last week, the whole week, which country has the biggest problem? Thailand. Okay, not Taiwan, very close. But Thailand. Now, remember we have all those cleavages. Remember the cleavages? Miss Liu, do you remember the cleavages when we talk about all kinds of cleavages? Okay, so do we have religious cleavages in Thailand? No, I mean, do we have religious cleavages in Thailand? Yes? It's in the south, right? Muslim versus Buddhist. But red shirt army, and yellow shirt army, there is no religious cleavage between the two. Okay. Do they have ethnic cleavages here? Red shirt armies and yellow shirt army, do they look different to you? Okay, maybe some good looking and some bad looking. Okay, I think the yellow shirt supported the Prime Minister. Abhijit, maybe more handsome than Thaksin. That's it. But I don't think we have ethnic cleavage. I don't think we have religious cleavage. I don't think we have linguistic cleavages. Okay, so what kind of cleavage do we have? I mean, if you don't have cleavage, then you should not have any conflict. Thailand is a good case for our cleavage studies. Huh? What kind of cleavage in Thailand? Regional. Okay, so that's one very important one, regional. The north versus the south, not the south, the center, okay, central part. What else in Thailand? Okay, there is one, okay, which we have not discussed a lot, okay, but some people said, like the French Revolution, okay, the French Revolution 200 years ago, you have one group of people continue to support some kind of political system, and then another group of people support another kind. Anyone familiar with the French? It's not the red wine and the white wine, okay? But two different groups. One support the monarchy. The other support what? What do we call it? Monarchy versus? How about, republic. A little bit like Sun Yat-sen, right? Supporting republic. Then you have some monarchists in China. They don't like republic. They think Chinese people so accustomed to a emperor. If you deprive the Chinese people of emperor, China lost, a center of authority. Some people think that way. Okay, even like after decades in China, after Republic of China, after People's Republic of China, still people thought Mao Zedong was an emperor. Okay, I think I mentioned this to you before. I met someone, I think if he's still alive, maybe close to 90. So he was definitely born after the Republic. was established in China. And he once complained to me when I was your age. He said, oh, you know, Sun Yat-sen just really hurt us. 元气大伤. He said, we should have the monarchy. Okay? You know, I mean, we learn all the republic. You know, oh, the first republic, right? So Thailand, people are talking about, some group of people said, Russian armies, they don't say it in open, but they really don't like the monarchy now. Okay, monarchy is still the monarch is still popular, the king of Thailand. Hey, but after 60 years, I think you're running out of the goodwill. I think people respect you, but after 60 years, you know, people took you for granted and then do not consider you to be as, you know, important. So there is a yellow shirt conspiracy saying, oh, red shirts, they want to get rid of the monarchy. They're thinking the monarch is still very popular. So, but that's not, I don't think it's the major cleavage. But it's a potential one. So we have one regional. You only gave me one regional. That's it. The most important cleavage of all, horizontal one. Which one, Mr. Lee? Which one? Horizontal. Remember that horizontal thing? Class. Okay, so Thailand definitely is poor against the middle class. Okay, poor from the non-urban area. Remember that word we cannot pronounce. R-U-R-A-L. So non-urban. Okay, from non-urban versus urban. So poor farmers, workers from the countryside supported the Red Armies. So my next question is, we do have a lot Thai people in Taiwan, right? Wujiaru. Yeah. Now, do you know we have a lot of Thai workers in Taiwan? Yeah. Okay. So, just make a guess. Which party or which armies do they support more? Red or yellow? You know, well, you know, there in Taiwan, both colors are good color. Red is for lucky, yellow is for imperial. Oh, 入境随俗. Red or yellow? I mean, just more likely, majority of the Thai people in Taiwan. Red. Okay, why? I don't think middle class people will come Taiwan to work. Okay. Has to be the working class. Has to be people from the north. A lot of people from poor area in the north, they came to Taiwan to work, right? So those are probably more Russia supported. So I feel good. We have 3 students here, 3 identifying with the Red Armies. 3 red shirts here. I don't think we have any yellow shirts here. Okay, so we are supporting the poor. Okay, the working class of Thailand. Okay, so that's one more. And if you look at the Thai cleavages, okay, I think what we're going to see in the future is regional versus regional cleavage. Also maybe class cleavages, and maybe we call, you know, urban versus non-urban cleavages. But Thailand is becoming more polarized. Remember that word, polarized? Polar bear, polarized. Okay, a Tsinghua student should have no problem because you're all familiar with battery, the 2 poles, right? So the polarized. Okay, any question on this Thailand stuff? this is one just happened there. We're going to follow. And what's the other country? They're choosing a vice president to replace the current president. 周一杰有在吗？黄雅萍、邱雅轩。Yeah. Okay. So, which country? Last week, the president actually died, and then the vice president, who is the acting president, and now appointing a vice president. You know, the country with the most biggest problem, I think yesterday, China Times, 中国时报, talk about a lot of internet scam from this country. Which country has the, you know, most fraud email? 诈骗电子邮件 fraud email. Nigeria. Have you heard of this country called Nigeria? Okay, Nigeria president who I think he was in a vegetarian state. 他在吃素吗？不是，他变植物人了。Okay, vegetarian state. Okay, and for a long time, so he finally died, and then the vice president, who was the acting president, named another Muslim from the north to become vice president. Okay, remember we talked about Nigeria. Also have a lot of cleavage, regional cleavage, linguistic cleavage, ethnic cleavage, religious cleavage, everything. So what do? They try to balance by saying, if you have the president from the south, a Christian, then the vice president has to be a Muslim from the north. If a president from the south served 2 terms, the next presidential candidate should be a Muslim from the south, from the north. Okay, so we have big problem right now. Remember that guy's name? What was his name? President of Nigeria? Good luck. Do you remember good luck? Okay. I mean, gosh, he has good luck. Right? So he became governor because the governor was involved in corruption. Okay. And then he became vice president because the president is from the north, so they want to pick someone from the south. They want to pick someone who doesn't have a power base. Do you understand this? What do we mean by power base? What is a power base? It's true. What is power base? Like someone who has been in the area for a long time. So he has a lot of support. Example, I think people still can say so-and-so has a power base in Taipei County, Su Zhenchang. Okay, he has been in the place for a long time. A lot of his followers in a position to help. So that's what we call power base. So here, Jonathan, good luck Jonathan, doesn't have a power base because he just became governor. And then people name him the vice president, which means he's not a, you know, you don't want your vice president to be too powerful. But the president didn't have good health, so he died, and then good luck became president. So what does he do right now? He said, oh, I have to name a vice president from the north. But again, he's naming someone in, you know, who just became governor and doesn't have very strong, powerful base as well. So the president, now why he is naming someone without strong, powerful base, power base as a vice president? You know, you're supposed, you don't think your vice president should be one part of your team, right? Should be strong. But saying, hey, it's a lightweight, you know. Lightweight 中文怎么讲？分量太轻了哦。 So why are you naming someone so lightweight? You worry that your vice president might, we call, usurp your power. 中文叫 usurp 怎么讲？篡不能讲篡 ，OK， 就是overshadow you, OK, something like that. I don't know whether you have done anything, but in the future when you go to work, you will find out every company's president is just trying to play one vice president against the other, so they're busy fighting, so he remains president. Okay. So here, this president named a lightweight politician to be the vice president. So maybe a lot of people said he thinks about running for president next year. This current president, acting president. But then, how do you do this in Nigeria? The Christian president already served 2 terms, right? From 1999 to 2007, 8 years. And then the Muslim president supposed to serve 2 terms, but he died in the middle of the first term. So should we give back the remaining of the second term to the Muslim north, or should we allow another Christian from the south to run for president, which means in 16 years you only have 2.5 years of a Muslim? Is that going to be fair? Or do you think that would be just in order to balance the ethnic differences, that would be too much? Ms. Cho, what do you think? For the sake of balance, do we have to do that? But this is a third world country. No, for example, if you dated a Tsinghua boyfriend and your mom said, hey, you're not fair, you haven't given Jiaoda a chance, so said, next time I'll date a Jiaoda, and then after Jiaoda, well, I have to revert back to Tsinghua, just to make sure it's balanced. Or, if your sister dated a Jiaoda, you said, well, we cannot have all Jiaoda boyfriends, so I have to date a Tsinghua to balance. Do you do that? No? Okay, but in third world, we have to have those kind of consideration. But if the president, good luck, okay, I think good luck to him. If he wants to run, and then people say, wait a second, don't you think the Christians have been in power a little bit too long? What will you do? You try to stay in power, and then creating problem, or you say, okay, if that's the majority of the people think, then I'll step down after serving the remaining of this year and a half. Right away? Wow. Okay, but they're going to have it next year, right? So you're going to have the election, but are you going to run? You think, what do you think? Everybody, do you think good luck to run next year? I think he's going to run because he named a lightweight politician to be his vice president. So it doesn't look like someone that can challenge him, right? I'm giving you this example because it's important. Think about Nigeria, and then think about, do we have any light at the end of the tunnel for Thailand? Because what's going to happen in Thailand? You have red army versus red shirt army versus yellow shirt, and then neither side will back down. And then if we have election, I think the red shirt armies probably will find able to become the majority party in the parliament. And what do we do in Thailand? I'm sorry, I'm very pessimistic about the future of Thailand right now. I mean, we all love Thai food. We all, love to go to Thailand for tourism, but Thailand is in trouble. Okay, this cleavage here. Okay, so we have a lot of cleavages And this is the identity. Remember last time we mentioned about identity. We talked about identity, shared characteristic of a racial or cultural group. And then we talk about why, how do you get that consciousness, and why someone has stronger identity, how does it rise and fall. And then we said not predetermined, it's not inevitable, can be constructed, and sometimes can be self-perceived, sometimes need to be concurred by others. So in other words, we have three kinds of identity. Okay, one is we call pre-module list. Okay, this is a very difficult word. In Chinese, we call 原生 pre-module. Okay. Basically, it's like physical, almost like your physical feature. You know, something that people can see right away. You share. You know, oh, you know, he's one of us. That's what we call pre-module. Okay. This pre-module one is something that we share, and very much like original similarities. Sometimes we can say biological, right? Biological. So you identify with certain people because maybe share biological features. That's one. And then also some kind of you cannot change that. It's almost like you go to anywhere, people will see you as such. Okay? So that will be, we call pre-modulist. Pre-modulist is like, they believe ethnicity probably is the most important identity. Okay, we might have other identity. We might have, you know, religious identity. We might have, like in Taiwan, a lot of people say, oh, I'm a 慈济人. That's identity, right? That's a religious identity. Some people will say, I'm a Christian. Some other people will say, hey, I'm a Buddhist. That would be identity, religious one. But to pre-module people approach, they said, this biological traits, features, people who feel that you're one of us, that's the most important identity. Okay? Cannot be changed. The second one is the instrumentalist. Instrumentalist is almost like the one we mentioned here. People, you know, can be concurred by others if you adopt certain ways, right? So if we said an American, how can we tell who is an American? A Caucasian? No, we also have Caucasian from what? Europe, from Australia, from Canada. They are not American. So if you look at the physical features, it's difficult, right? You also have Hispanic, but Hispanic Americans are different from Hispanics from Latin America. How about Black Americans, African American? You look at African, and then you look at African American. Somehow you can tell the difference. Can you tell the difference? Like if you watch an NBA game, you look at, okay, this is, you know, this is American, African American, right? But then you look at someone from Africa, you say, oh, you know, kind of different. The same thing with Asian American, right? Taiwanese American. Why are we calling them ABC? Because they even walk differently than us. They look, physically they look the same, right? So instrumental, almost like you can identify, you can assume that identity if you feel that identity is going to help you. Okay? That identity became an instrument. For example, we have people in Taiwan who might be considered mainlanders, okay, but they speak fluent Taiwanese dialects, okay. Their Taiwanese might be better than some of the Taiwanese family living in Taipei, okay. So, and then they are against the unification or any kind of integration with China, and somehow people felt they are Taiwanese. So, and when you run for election, you think this is important. So it's almost you can assume that identity. It's becoming an instrument for you. So that's the instrumental one. And then constructivist. Constructivist is the one I think we mentioned earlier. You can construct the identity, right? Here we have the can be constructed. It's not inevitable. So somehow people in the past, you can construct a new identity, but I'm not sure that's the case. For example, we have Rwanda, Hutu and Tutsi. I think that's primordial. Somehow people just know you're Hutu because your face is flatter, right? Somehow you look less aristocratic, you're Hutu. 看起来不高贵就是糊涂了。But right now, Rwanda government is doing one thing. What? They say, oh, we don't have Hutu and Tutsi in our society. All the elementary books saying we're all Rwandans. Okay. Hopefully, maybe one day, it's a new construction. People in Rwanda will say, I am Rwandan. Like people in Nigeria will say, I'm Nigerian, instead of saying Igbo. We know one time, in a country called former Yugoslavia. Yugoslavia has all kinds of people. Serbs, Croats, Bosnian, Slovenians. It's a federation. Remember, Yugoslavia used to be a federation. And all the people used to identify themselves with being a Serb, being a Montenegro. But somehow, after many years of Yugoslavian, they consider themselves Yugoslavian. And then the country collapsed. They reverted back to Serbian, Slovenian. So this can happen. Constructivist. We talked about Singapore before, right? The Malay, the Indian. Like one time, last year, I went to Korea for a conference. I met someone from Singapore. She said, "Oh," I look at her. She looked Malay to me, right? But she said, "I'm a Singaporean." I said, "No. Wait a second. My stereotype, typical stereotypical Singaporean is Sun Yanzi, right? And she looked Malay to me, but she said she's Singaporean. Okay, so that's a new construction, construct 建构新建构的一个 identity. Okay, so cannot be assumed, but of course, primordial one will be something we identify. And in the future, for example, we call the foreign brides in Taiwan. If they speak our language, our dialects as well, if they are preparing local food, and we consider them part of us, and it's a new identity for them. But now I think we have some problem because we ask them to eat pork. Such a delicious food, right? Oh, so delicious! Come on, try. But this is strange because you know what? We respect vegetarian, don't we? We never force vegetarian to try pork. But why are we recommending others, different religious? This to me is very surprising. Why? Because in the military before, I don't know now, in the military before, they cook for Muslim. There is food for Muslim because Muslims do not eat pork. Pork is I think the main food in Taiwan, right? Meat, in terms of meat, and which a lot of people enjoy eating meat, pork. But if other groups, minority group, do not like it, we should not force upon them. Respect of minority is very difficult because you do have different culture. Especially, I'll give you one example. We love dragon. We love to have dragons on our costume, right? Some of our 马褂 or 旗袍, I think especially 旗袍 has 龙. And then we also have a lot of Chinese restaurants in Chinatown in the United States. All the decoration, the column, the pictures, a lot of carvings are in dragon. And in a country like United States, majority of people are Christians. They will say, wait a second. In our Bible, in the book of Revelation, dragon is Satan. Okay, so why are the Chinese people bringing Satan to our country? Okay, of course, this dragon is different from that dragon, but it's still called dragon, right? So if they say, oh, we cannot accept that, then they will have problem, right? But at least, I haven't heard any case that local people said, oh, the Chinese are bringing Satan to the United States, so they're trying to force them not to have, the dragon decoration. So the same thing with in Taiwan, remember this, Indonesian workers in Taiwan, I think we need to be more, I don't want to use the word tolerant, okay, because this is not tolerant. This is something that we have to accommodate, we have to accept. Okay, people of different culture, they have different, eating habit or drinking habit. So remember this one, identity. Okay, next one. Today we want to move to human rights. Okay, last week I think we mentioned some of these human rights issues, that why are they become so important. Like your professor back, 31 years ago, right? When I got engaged, I engaged on Human Rights Day. Young people have nothing to do, just saying, look at the calendar, say, hey, this is called Human Rights Day. So why don't we put, something there, say, we are going to be engaged on Human Rights Day. Please, give us some blessing. 我跟我太太订婚的时候，一看，刚好有个人权节，还蛮好听的，就订婚了，就在说我俩仅在人权节订婚，请祝福我们。Okay, but happen to be I'm talking about human rights now, so like pretty good. But why human rights becoming important? The book talk about the 6 international factors. The first one, we talk about this one a lot. What's this one basically? Used to be you are SOB, but you are my SOB. That will be fine, right? And now, after 1989, the Cold War ended, communism defeated. You cannot say, hey, why are you abusing basic, humans' basic rights? You say, oh, because they're communist sympathizers. Do you know the sympathizers? 同情共产主义者, okay? Or in China, they will call capitalist roader, 走资派, capitalist road, 加一个 er, 有这样加的吗？路线派嘛，路capitalist roader. So communist roaders. So if you are anti-communist, you're allowed to violate human rights because you are fighting against communists. But after 1989, people said, no, no excuse. No more excuse. So that one is gone. No more justification of abuse of rights in the name of fighting communism. Okay? I think in Taiwan we did that as well before. Second one, collapse of authoritarian regimes. Everywhere, the strongest, the most authoritarian regime, Soviet Union collapsed, and people said, oh, which means we can actually talk about rights. So it encourage people to talk about fundamental rights. Okay, so that's the second reason. Third one, I love this one. Remember this SAP? What is the SAP? Structural Adjustment Program. Do you remember? Though that program actually means you are not going to help the working class. You're not going to provide subsidies. You're going to remove public spending on poor people. So poor people feel more and more deprived. So they are crying out. That's the reason. Okay? Communist countries, they are caring more about poor people. I'm sorry. They love to redistribute wealth. Right? But once the communist government is gone, no one cares about redistribution of wealth. And rich people will say, hey, we earned it. We earned it. Okay? But it's not, right? According to your professor's introduction of dependency, is what? They exploit the poor to get rich. That's how dependency theory said. Okay, number 4, it's the impact of globalization. Okay, and the number 5, very similar. When you have the production system and labor market, for example, if you're not happy, if you're workers, you want basic rights, economic rights, right? You want higher wages, better environment, working environment. They say, oh, you want more? Bye-bye. We will go to another country. We will go to the next available country. So a few weeks ago, I watched a movie with your school students called Outsourcing. Okay, it's about American jobs outsourced to India, and then later they outsourced to China because now China outsourced to Vietnam. Okay, so if you're trying to fight against the capitalists, they're just moving jobs away. So people will say, oh, we are so grateful you are willing to invest in our community, right? Instead of saying, you are being exploited. Finally, media revolution, which means you have a lot of people bringing the attention of these human rights issues. So I'm going to ask each one of you to write down one thing you think the most important for you. Consider human rights. What is human right? Okay. What will be the most important thing? Then we will ask you right now. Okay, write it down, and then we'll go through. 吕理源. Well, if you talk about human rights, what would be the most basic human rights for you? Access to my laptop. That would be the most important human rights right nowadays for college student. 可不可以让我看一看我的笔记型电脑 Right? You have, of course, it has to have access to internet as well, right? But all your information, I need to go to my Facebook. I need to do that. Every day I have to report to my website, to my mails. What's the basic, most important human right for you? Just one. Just name one. Most important human rights. I think for Qiu Yi is that he can keep his wig without being, ripped off, right? I think that's his most important human rights. 啊，你们也觉得是啊 ？Okay, what is yours? 嗯？Right to central to live, right to live. Okay, just right to live. Okay, you don't care even if your life is going to be miserable. So, oh, thank you for feeding me. I'm surviving. Okay, so right to survive, right to live. Okay, fine. 孙敏伦 Yeah, what is your most basic human rights? People can choose what kind of life.
They liable that it's not.
Okay, the basic human right means I can decide when I want to die.
No, 就是别人不可以去掌控另外。
Okay, so yeah, well, just you can choose what kind of life you want to lead, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so no control by others.
Yeah.
Okay. 尹静薇 Yeah, what is your basic human rights? Freedom. Freedom from your mom. That's a very important, I think, in the Italian family, in the Hispanic family, in the Jewish family, and in the Korean family. Oh, the mother. Just the shadow of the mother. Just always there. No, what kind of freedom? Okay, so freedom of speech, you think? Okay. I think for a lot of Taiwanese, what we call them the pundits, P-U-N-D-I-T, 名嘴 or 专家. I think, if you said you cannot talk, they would say, I'll pay you, let me talk. Huh? Okay, for Kobe Bryant or LeBron James, I think, you said, what is your most important human right? Let me play. Said no. I mean, you're too good. I'm sorry. You're above our level. We cannot. You cannot play in our league anymore. You and Kobe and LeBron. You belong to the other league. You play against each other. Okay. So, and I think that's probably more important for them, right? So you want freedom of speech. Okay. 谢梦涵。宋之瑜，宋之奇yeah, okay. What is your basic human rights? Most important one. Private property, ownership of property. You can own something, including owning your husband in the future. Consider your husband your personal property. Okay. I'm sorry, I have to say Taiwan has been very much polluted by the United States and the West. We are all talking about individual one. We are all talking about individual rights. We're not talking about collective one. So this is where we have, if we look at the human rights, we have basically the East and the West have different kind of definition. By the way, as we are talking right now, last week, over the weekend, I think last week, the United States and China held its U.S.-China human rights dialogue, 对话, 人权对话, right? Used to be American would say, hey, you don't have human rights, you're violating human rights. China said, but I'm sorry, we Asians have different values. And you're not respecting human rights in the United States. How come? oh, people in the United States cannot afford basic medical care. In China, we have so many Mongolian, right? So everybody is taken care of. No, we don't call Mongolian, I'm sorry. What do we call them? We call barefoot doctor. 中文叫什么？赤脚大夫。中文这样讲吗？是吗？我们叫蒙古大夫，但英文是这个啊。你们查一下好不好？字典 ，barefoot doctor 是什么？那正是什么 ？barefoot 赤脚。没有加 doctor 吗？啊，赤脚医生。同学懂吗？什么叫赤脚医生？医生 supposed to be rich, right? Wearing leather shoes. 我不知道 ，but anyway， 那赤脚 barefoot means 蒙古大夫了 ，OK, almost, right? So, remember this is a difference: collective versus individualist. Okay, so the Eastern idea of human rights is about social rights. It's about economic rights. Okay, right to food. Westerns is more about political rights, civil rights, civil liberties. So we will take a break and come back to look at this. And in between, I think some of you might want to take the map test. Those of you who still have not passed, okay, you can take it during the middle, okay, during the break. Talk about human rights. We're going to talk about human rights in China. And China said, hey, what's up, Doc? We said that we have different views. Going to Beijing to talk about human rights. My basic human right is access to dumpling. 你不能让我不吃水饺。That's part of my diet, very important part. Okay, so okay, here we have the Western view, which is individualist, talk about political rights. And also civil rights, civil liberties, freedom of speech, freedom of assembly, freedom of press. Those are civil liberties issues. Right to vote, right to be in the political process, political rights, right to, not to be tortured, right to life. All these are political ones. And economic rights in the East is like, people in Singapore, I think, must feel good, right? How can you not feel good in Singapore if 80% of the population live in public housing? 80% live in the apartment built by government. Now, you will not have this we call inferiority complex, don't you think? In Taipei, for example, like I live right next to 豪宅, and I said, why am I not there? Huh? And then especially I live in an area right now with a lot of 豪宅. You know, every day I walk through, I complain and say, 顺何人也, 于何人也, 有为者亦不是. Okay, so I cannot make it, but if 80% of people live in the same kind of apartment, that's pretty good, right? And the government provide, we call shelter, economic, right? So this is the economic human rights. Medical care, education. Some countries, they have, we call, freedom of or access to education, but people cannot afford, and that's not good. So social rights, economic rights, medical care, health care. America might be the richest country in the world, but so many people cannot afford health care. In Taiwan, we pay less money without health care than Americans who have health care. Do you understand? For example, if you have a flu, cold, you visit a clinic in the evening in Taiwan. We have a lot of evening clinic. And then the doctor saw you and then gave you a prescription. You got some drugs. You went home. Altogether, how much? 700, 600 Taiwanese dollar. Right? You go to the United States. First of all, if you have something in the evening, I'm sorry, there's nothing open. Okay, of course you can go to the emergency, which is very expensive. So and then even if you have insurance, they will say, you have to pay your part first. Okay, sometimes they will say you have to pay, like over 1 year period of $1,000 after you pay, after you pay $1,000, and then the insurance company will pay percentage for you. It's like, gosh, I only have $700. I need to get sick again so I can get that, threshold, past that threshold, and then the next time, if I got sick, finally the insurance company will pay something. So, do you think Americans have basic human rights? A lot of people, probably, you don't have the right to get sick. Huh? That's pretty bad. Very sad, okay? So, that's the difference, okay? Social rights and collective one and individual. So also, when you talk about collective, people are talking about sacrificing certain individual rights. Like what? Like those we call a nail household, 钉子户, right? In China, what do? 拆, right? Just one word, one Chinese word, just brush, 有点像那个中国古代拿一个毛笔拆. Okay, so, but you said, wait a second, I have the right to live here. That would be, that's so Western. You're destroying the whole community, right? So for the collective good of this place, then sorry, individual rights has to be compromised. Okay, that's the difference of the rights. Okay, here we have the Francis Fukuyama. This is, you know the name Fukuyama. That's so Japanese. Fukuyama, Fushan, right? At least you should know something about, like, Fuku is Fu, right? So Fukuda, Futian, right? Yama, San, Yamaha, Sanye, something, right? Okay, so Fushan, lucky, blessed mountain. Francis, look, you know, he is a Japanese American, but I'm sorry, he's more American than Japanese. Okay, so his idea of human rights is civil rights, okay, and then religious rights. Western people respect religious rights so much. In Taiwan, that's the problem. I don't think we are religious people in Taiwan. And then we will find people very strange when they are serious in their religion. And we will say, well, you know, taste a little bit of pork. He said, no, my God will not allow me to do that. Oh, if your God is so stingy, that would not be a good God, right? Your God should be more generous. You know, your God can forgive you on that one. So religious right. Okay, I'll give you one. Jehovah Witness. Have you heard of this group of people? Jehovah Witness. Jehovah Witness. 耶和华见证人 group. Okay, so this is a Christian group, but it's not the mainstream one. Okay, this group of people believe in peace, in not fighting at all. They are, we call, conscientious objector, 良心犯. They don't want to fight in battle. So, what happens if you have, we call, compulsory military service? You're going to be drafted, you're going to take up the guns. So in Taiwan, what do? They said, well, you know, we are going to serve in the military, but we're not going to pick up the gun. They said, oh, if you don't want to pick up the gun, put you in jail. They said, fine. Okay, so some of them serve in the jail. And then because they are very religious people, good behavior. Have you heard of that term? 行为表现良好. Okay, so release early. Oh, you're still eligible for military service. In Taiwan, anyone below 40, you're still eligible, right? So, drafted and then refused to take up the arms, sent to jail again. So back and forth, back and forth. In another country, people will say, why don't we just allow them to do something they don't have to do? We call combat duty. 战场, 战役. Okay? So what can we do in the military if they don't fight? They don't pick up the weapons.
Cooking food. Cooking food.
They can
Cooking food.
Cooking, right? Do the cooking. Okay. So right now in Taiwan, by the way, you don't have to take up the arms. Why? Because we have replacement service, right? 我们有替代役了. Okay. Before we don't. So when I first came back to Taiwan, I asked our defense ministry, I said, you need to change that. You know, you have to respect other people's religion. And our general said, no, we cannot do that, because what happened if everybody said they are Jehovah's Witnesses? I said, why would they do that? He said, oh, they just don't want to pick up the weapons. I said, but you know, weapons to a lot of people are toys. They love to have access of toys, right? He said, but what happened if everybody want to, you know, to become cook? I said, I don't think so. You know, if you're Navy, why don't you ask them to scrub the floor? 洗甲板就好. But he said, maybe everybody want to do that. I said, no. I think some people love to play with guns instead of doing the scrubbing. Right? And also, you have to pretend to be a Jehovah's Witness. You have to, you know, do certain things to look like. And sometimes they say, well, you need to have a letter from your church to verify that you belong to this. So you cannot just say, claim to be, right? So you have to, like in high school, you begin to go to the church. So I can be a Jehovah. Oh, I don't think, you know, people will do certain things. But that's religious freedom. Okay, remember that. And then Jehovah's Witness also doesn't do one thing. They don't salute to national anthem or flag. They don't salute. They think a flag is an idol. 偶像. They don't do that. So there are a lot of religious freedom. People do that. Political rights. So this is very Western. And Ajami here. Okay, this is more. Someone from the third world. So you have a more combination. He said the maximum feasible consensus means I think everybody will agree. These are the minimum thing. Okay, what are the three minimum? One is right to survive. Okay, right to live, right to survive. That's the basic one. Second one, right not to be subjected to torture. Okay, torture is no longer a case in Taiwan. But how many of you have suffered torture as elementary school students? Oh, I love this one. I heard something from our pastor the other day. Okay, 我教会牧师讲 very funny. He said he heard one mom talking over the most important human rights, cellular phone, to her daughter. The daughter called, she had a fight with another girl and probably got hit by the other girl. So the mother said, why don't you, hit her? You're not uglier than her. Which means that if you are more beautiful, you have the right to hit another person. Okay. How about torture? Anyone being tortured by your elementary school teacher before? You don't do that anymore. Okay. I raised my chair in my classroom for the whole afternoon because I went out during the lunch break to watch basketball. Okay, so raised the chair for the whole afternoon. Okay. And then the teacher said, oh, you have to apologize and confess and say you're wrong, you're sorry. I didn't want to do it, so just continue to. But she has to go home. Right? So by 4:30, I'm still there, stubborn, and she tried to figure out a way to go home. So she said, oh, the other teacher say something, saying, oh, you should be forgiven, back for you, say something. Okay, I'll let you go. I said, oh, you want to go home, huh? No. So that's one torture I have. In middle school, what we have is we have to do frog leaping around our basketball court. For every math test, we didn't pass. Okay, so like the teacher would say, those who score over 50, from 50 to 60, one line, 40 to 50, second line, and then 50 to 60, one circle of frog leaping, and then 40 to 50, 2 rounds, right? And then 0, 6 rounds. Okay, is that torture? That probably is. And what else? I think we have been tortured a lot. One is one teacher. I was not a good student. I was attending a night school, 夜间部. Okay, so the math teacher would send us outside, like in Hsinchu would be ideal for him. 吹风. Standing there. Because he said, I don't want to waste my energy hitting you. It was just there. Okay, that's torture, I think. So economic rights, he talked about food, right to food. Okay. And I'm not sure about that Indian guy who didn't eat for so many years, still survived. Okay, so that's another one. And then we have a Ferguson's list, which also include a lot. Right to life. Okay, I think that's a very important one. Right to freedom. Oh, someone wants freedom. Freedom from torture, freedom from slavery, freedom from summary execution means, people just decide to execute you, for your crimes. But summary, okay, means without, a particular name. Freedom from hunger minimum standard of living, okay, basic education and healthcare. So both economic and political. So let's look at Universal Declaration of Human Rights. What do they have? So how do I do this one? To blow it up, 检视, and then 编. What is it? Where is it? Anyone? Where is the one blowing up a little bit? Can we do it? Okay.
They told me.
Oh, that's it? Oh. Okay. 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 That's. I think that's probably we can do. Okay. So here, this is a Universal Declaration of Human Rights, older than me, declared in 1948, and they talk about human rights. First one, I'll just go over some of them, so you will know. Born free, equal in dignity and rights. Okay. And entitled to freedom, without any discrimination, like based on race, based on color. Oh, Thailand has a problem, right? Thailand is being discriminated if you wear red or if you wear yellow. No, when we talk about color, we're talking about skin color. In Taiwan, I think we also discriminate based on color, right? My wife, when I first dated her, and then later brought home, my mom's friend always, said, 三姑六婆 want to see her, right? So, and then, they said, they made a comment. You know what was the comment at the time? I have to use the dialect, I'm sorry. He said, 咩學嘅黑了一點黑了一點黑了一點黑了一點咩學黑了一點So, what do we have? Color discrimination. Don't you think in Taiwan, that's why we all have umbrella in campus. Everybody wants to keep the skin. All the SK2 is talking about white. Why are we talking about some healthy color? Huh? So we have this skin things. Color, sex, I think here we talk about gender, right? You don't want to do the something like some of the tourists going abroad, the Japanese tourists fill out the form, say, well, people ask sex, they're asking how many times we do, should I write 1 or 2, male or female, right? Should gender, okay? Language, religion, political or other opinion, you should not be discriminated because you believe in Taiwan independence, or you believe in unification. That's political belief. National or social origin, okay. Property, birth, and it means you're rich, you're poor, birth or other status. So that's very important. Third one, everyone has the right to life, liberty, and security of person. Number 4, look at this number 4. You're talking about not being held to slavery or servitude. Okay. Do we have one company somewhere in Shenzhen? So many people committed suicide. Maybe the workers look like slaves, huh? We don't know. Okay. And then number 5 article talk about no torture or inhumane or treatment or punishment. Okay, inhumane punishment or treatment. Everybody equal before the law, no discrimination. And then number 8, right to an effective remedy by the competent national tribunal for acts violating, which means what? Hey, you are entitled to counsel, to lawyers to help you. Okay? So that's a very important, and this is what I think China doesn't have. Okay? you need to have competent national tribunal, means the court has to be good, and then arbitrary arrest, okay, detention or exile. So what do we mean by arbitrary arrest? For example, we have 3 registered students here. If they happen to be in Bangkok, they got arrested and then just being tortured, or when you arrest someone, at least this person should have the right to what? One phone call telling, the wife or the family or the parents where he is, and then maybe send an attorney to help. Okay, so that's the basic. You cannot just be held or detained without, a trial. And then I think this is very important. Which one I want to give you? Number 14, right to seek and enjoy in other countries asylum from prosecution. Means you can go to other countries if you are going to be prosecuted in this country. There should be other country willing to take you. Article 13, you have the right to move within your borders. Okay, so which means if you live in Taipei, you decide you want to move to other country, other places of Taiwan. People in China, this is a big problem. Why? Why is this one a big problem in China? Zhang Peiqi. Yeah, why is this a big problem? Number 13, freedom of movement of residents and resident within the border of each country. Freedom of movement. Why is this a big problem in China? Oh, because it is so big, it is so crowded, I cannot travel. I have to climb up the train, right? No, what is the problem in China? Well, they do, but not exactly, because they have what we call household registration. 叫什么？中文叫什么？居留证。Okay. If you don't have a Beijing city one, sorry, you cannot live in Beijing. Your kids cannot go to school. If you have kids, if you live in Beijing, fine, but your kids cannot go to the elementary school in Beijing because you don't have a Beijing household registration. The only way for you to do that is marry a Beijing guy. Okay? Why? China tried to control population. I think Shanghai people once told me, say, we Shanghai people look are very, just like Taipei, we, law-abiding, very civilized now. It's the immigrants from the countryside, creating all the problems, spitting, loud. But I remember also about 15 years ago in Shanghai, in the evening, I saw a couple. This is like young married couple. I think they're still in love. They are taking a walk. Okay, but do you know what kind of things they wear? They wear leather shoes, but pajama. 睡衣很漂亮啊，丝绸的，但在外面散步。I don't quite understand. Okay. But they think they're civilized anyway. Another one is my wife went to McDonald's and then found out the lady before her didn't flush. Don't you think flush toilet is basic manner? And so my wife said, hey, wait a second, you didn't flush. Why don't you ask the 服务员 to do it? Ooh, okay. So this is not supposed to be done by, but China didn't have freedom of movement. If you live, those being sent to the countryside cannot return to the city. 下放到劳改. Some people just stay in the new place because they cannot return. They don't have household. So that's a fundamental violation of fundamental rights in China. In Taiwan, do we have that problem? Saying Taipei or other places, can you move? For example, in Taipei, there is a elementary school right across Da'an Shenling Gongyuan. Have you heard of that school? That little elementary school called Xingsheng Guoxiao. People said that's a good school. So every parents want to move there so their kids can go to that school. And can we say, no, you cannot move here? We cannot. We cannot prevent people from moving there. So what happened in Taiwan? Most of the apartment have been, cut off into 8 units, so everybody is. And now they are called leasing household registration. Now you can lease, you can rent an apartment but not living there, but pay the rent like $5,000 a month. Okay, so people say, oh, your household registration 叫做什么租房租户口 Okay, but anyway, we can move. Okay, in China, that's a big problem. Everyone has the right to a nationality. Talk to Tom Hanks about this. Okay, Tom Hanks. Have you seen that movie? He was lost in the airport. He didn't have a nationality. Okay, so everybody's entitled to a nationality. I think we have few people in Taiwan before who didn't have nationality. Okay, what kind of people in Taiwan didn't have nationality before? Chiu Bokai. Yeah. Have you heard of this group of people? From northern Thailand and Burma, Myanmar, Taipei, 缅甸 难民, originally from China, and then went to northern Thailand on the border of Myanmar and Thailand. They came to Taiwan, but they don't have a Taiwan citizenship, and they don't have Thai or Myanmar citizenship. So basically, they are entitled to nationality. Okay, so that's one group of people. They didn't have nationality. Everyone has the right to own property, personal property. Okay, so we have that one as well. Men and women of full age had the right to marry and found a family. Now, wait a second. What is the full age? For women? For men? What will be 18, 16, 17? 17 in Taiwan you can get married? Can you get married at the age of 17? 16? 16 candles. Oh. 28. Okay, so they based on a classic view of women or men. 28家人，所以可以结婚了。28、16是这样的吗？所以16岁，台湾是16岁，女生。那男生呢？为什么男生要18 ？That's discrimination. Huh? Why? It's a little bit like discrimination in the United States for boys age 25. The insurance for your driving, okay, auto insurance, men over 25 will become a little bit cheaper, okay, but women over 20 will be the same. I don't think women are better driver than men, but why men have to pay higher premium? Because once men sit behind the wheel, they're out of control, right? Especially young men. Okay, so after 25. So full age, you cannot deny the right to marry. So anyone who are under the tyranny of your parents, okay, I think you can go marry, right? No problem. But not the young kids. And marriage should be entered only in with the free and full consent of the intending spouses. Do we still have that? Is this rights being respected? I'm not sure. Okay, I'm not sure. I think some of the parents still say, if you're going to marry someone, I'm going to disown you. Right? Is that trying to what we call consent? Yes, or you have to marry someone. Okay. So this is one problem. Right to own property, we already talked about. Number 18 here, freedom of thought, conscience. Okay, conscience and religion. So no problem. I love the other one here. Opinion, right, freedom. I like the one. Number 21, take part in the government of his country. That's the political rights, society. Right to work, choice of employment. Now, how about this one? In China, one time they don't have the choice of employment. Why? Because you graduated from high school, you are assigned by the government a job. Nowadays, you consider lucky you're assigned a job, don't you think? In Taiwan, you say, I graduate. Oh, there's a job waiting for me. That's really nice. So don't you think we should be a socialist country? Instead of graduating and then being responsible yourself. And you say, oh, I tried 1 year, I sent out all the resume and no job. So you said, well, I have my choice of employment, but the reality is there's no employment for me. I can choose, but there's no employment for me. But in governments in China, everyone is assigned a job. So which job will you take? 周志勋、胡珀庆、吴德昌都不在，叶子瑜。Yeah, which job will you take? You graduate from high school or college, and you get a job of working at McDonald's right next door, or you get your job you like to do, but in a very remote area, let's say Wang'an. Get a teaching job in Wang'an. You know where is Wang'an? 望安乡澎湖县. Okay. Hey, sometimes, and once you're there, you can never go back. Okay. So what job you want to take? McDonald's is not that bad, right? Kentucky Fried Chicken will probably be even better in China. Okay, that's we call assignment of a job. Okay, and again, 20-some years ago, we have some mainland Chinese students come into the United States and study, and then they had a debate with my wife, and they said, "Oh, you know, look, our women in China, we are all liberated. 中国的女性都已经解放。Look, we all have jobs. Is job liberation?" So my wife said, "Well, yeah, but I have a choice not to work. I have a choice of taking care of my kids and not go to work." Okay. So that's remember, that's a choice of employment, but I think also not being employed as well. Okay. Also protection, condition of work, and to protect against unemployment means if you want to work, you should try to be able to have one. How do we go down here? Second page. 怎么啦？对不起，同学们，帮我忙。我 article 在23已经 stop。太大了。Yeah, it's here. Ooh, thank you. That's all you can do?
Maybe.
Okay, because this is the most important one, Article 24. Why? Everyone has the right to rest and leisure. Oh, thank you, Universal Declaration of Rights. Okay, show this to your parents. Show this to your professors. We have the right to rest, and we have the right to leisure. Show it to Guo Taiming. Okay. If you're working for some company. Reasonable limitation of working hours and periodic holidays with pay. Okay? So that's very important. Limitation of working hours, which means I think we should shut down Science Park here. Science Park is crazy, right? Most people work more than 10 hours a day there. That's not good for the society. So they need to have rest. They need to have leisure. Oh, I love that word, leisure. But then, how can we tell someone who is in computer games? Is that are they working or are they having leisure time? 搞这个电脑动画，他们是在工作呢，还是在这个叫什么 ？leisure 叫什么？中文？休闲。你觉得他们在工作还是在休闲？Work. So what would they do in their leisure time? Your leisure time is to play computer games, right? So what is people who work on computer games, their leisure time? Don't play computer games, you know. Okay, so that's very important. We are teaching young kids about their fundamental rights, and most of the kids love this one. Okay, right to leisure, right to rest. Okay, and then right to standard of living, health care, well-being, and food, clothing, housing, medical care. Okay, food. Okay, should not go to bed hungry. Have you heard of this? Always, people will say, "Well, the kids should not go to bed hungry." There are a lot of kids nowadays going to bed hungry. Why? Because they're already overweight. Their parents said, "No, you cannot eat hungry." Okay, like my son, right? When he was, I think, middle school, and every day he came home, he felt hungry. So my wife would just say, "Oh, there's something for you on the, on the kitchen table. What do you have? Some carrots, some." What else? Some vegetable as well. Okay. So that's all. 吃胡萝卜吧. Okay. But that I don't know how many of you got hungry. Some people, especially college students, I think you all have night, snack, right? 你们有吃宵夜吗？有没有? Okay, I can tell you one thing. Some of people who have dinner late or some snack before, you go to some of the camp in the United States, they have dinner 5:30 in the evening. And then you finish by the time about 9:30, 10 o'clock before you go to sleep, just keep people hungry. So there are a lot of people going to bed hungry. Okay. But this is the one, okay, access to food and housing. So Singapore is the one I mentioned. China before also have, housing. Most people have housing, but they don't own their house, okay? And then medical care, and then necessary social service. If they don't have employment, like if they are sick, they are disabled, a widow, old age. Oh, wow. This is written by a Chinese. 鳏寡孤独皆有所养，是这样子念吗？李运大同篇怎么念？是不是鳏寡孤独？哦，怎么写？那个字好难哦。鳏怎么写？鳏 look like 鳏，鳏有一个鳏吗？鳏不是这个鳏，什么鳏？怎么写鳏？一个金，鳏 有一个这样子，啊，没有。How do we write that 关？Fish, okay. Means if your wife died, no one will cook fish for you. Oh, fish is difficult, right? 治国如煎小鱼嘛，啊？关怎么写？旁边什么？什么？四嘛，1、2、3、4是4啊 ，4。下面什么？心塞。小。
在上面那两笔。
来自关。A lot of fish, lots of head here. So that's being a widower. Okay. 寡 so many. So here they sing taking care of all those. So and look at this. Number 2, motherhood and childhood are entitled to special care. Means women of pregnancy and kids should be taken care of. And all children born in or out of wedlock. What do we mean by out of wedlock? Born out of wedlock. That's very important. Should enjoy the same social protection. So what is out of wedlock? 郑一涵, what is it? Do you know there's a guy used to call 张孝炎, not called 蒋孝严? Have you heard of this guy? Sometimes people call him the illegitimate. Oh, legitimate. What is legitimate? 合法 illegitimate. Illegitimate son of 蒋经国私生子 Okay, so saying children born out of wedlock 私生子 should have the same social protection. So in the future, I think children born out of tube 试管的 should have the same. 因为 in the future, I think a lot of women will say, I'm not going to get married. Well, I'm just going to get some donors and then get, my little kid, right? And then going to school. Nowadays, do you think we should still say 父母? Just say parent, choose one to write, right? So that you don't discriminate. So that's very important there. Okay. So all these are human rights. I think you need to take a look of some of the basic. So you have the different kind of human rights. And we already talked about HDI before, and human rights human development index. Look at life expectancy. If we consider life expectancy, what do we see here? Medical care is important, right? Health care. People who live longer may come from the rich country, but also you don't have to be from a very rich country. Very rich country, they might have cholesterol problem. They might have heart attack problem. They eat too much meat. But you still need to have decent nutrition for life expectancy. Education as well. That's also right to education. And then standard of living, that's per capita income. We already talked about this one. So if we look at the human rights, human development index, and political freedom index. Those are the two. Civil rights, political rights when we discuss democracy. Adding together, you have an idea of what human rights count in the third world. So I will give you a homework to do one few countries' human rights index. And you have to do the search for me. And I will send it to you tonight. So any question on this human rights issue, Universal Declaration of Human Rights? Just remember, China and United States had a human rights talk last week. And what did they talk? United States always said religious freedom in China. So which religion they're talking about? They say, of course, they care about the Christian church. But no, not just Christian church. What other religion? One religion in China, which United States called it religion, but I don't think we call it religion here. 法轮功. Is 法轮功 a religion? I think it's more about freedom of assembly. 就是集会自由嘛. Because China is so worried about mob. Oh, no, not mob. Mob will be out of control. Crowd. Okay. China worry about people gathered together. So that's one. But also about Tibetan. Xizang. Okay. That's more about religious freedom. United States also worry about China right now. It's called Internet. The Google. You know, freedom of information. Freedom of speech. Freedom of expression. So that's one they worry. And they also talk about, more importantly now, in China, is the right of the accused. What is the right of the accused? 被控告者. No, 中文的被告. 被告的权利 means that person need to have competent lawyer. And then the lawyer also has to be protected. Because nowadays in China, the lawyers are not given proper space to defend the accused. And some of the lawyers critical of government are in jail. Okay, so that's the one. U.S. push a lot. And China said, oh, but you also passed something in a state called Arizona. Okay, have you heard of this state called Arizona? The Phoenix Sun, they just lost today. Okay, to Lakers. Okay, one time, what's the few I think 2 weeks ago, what was the name of Phoenix Sun? Lausanne. Why Lausanne? To support the Spanish, because Arizona passed a bill saying, you know, if you're not U.S. citizen, you know, some kind of discrimination against new immigrants. So China said, hey, is Chinese also going to be discriminated in Arizona? So China finally has something to accuse the United States, right? So they have this dialogue. So you have to remember, human rights in the East and in the West can be different. But at least, I think China said right now, we understand we have differences, but we also can accept that the Western countries have concern about human rights in China. It is okay to have concern. In the past, China would not say, why do you have concern? We have good human rights records. Right? In China, according to the Constitution, there is religious freedom, freedom of speech, freedom of assembly. 记得吗？中国我跟你们讲过 ，for Chinese society， 记得这个 ，right? Once Chinese society, they said it is okay to do it, you don't do it. One society said it is okay to do it, and then you don't do the other things. Okay, only do the things they say okay. And then another Chinese society said it is illegal to do this, so you don't do that, but you can do the rest of the things. Then there's one more Chinese society, it is illegal to do this, but you still can do it. So they say it is legal to do it, don't do it, like freedom of speech, freedom of religion. That's China. They say it is legal, don't believe it. Okay? And in Singapore, they said it is legal to do this, you only do those things, don't do anything else. It is legal chew peanuts. Okay, fine, but not to chew. Don't choose chewing gums, right? So don't do that. In Hong Kong, they said it is not legal to do this. Don't do those, but all the other things you can do. Okay. In Taiwan, even if they say it is illegal to speed, you continue to run over, the red light. It's okay. 台湾这个法律只参考做。那香港的法律也是就是说法律说可以不可以做你不要做，其他都可以做。新加坡是法律说不能只能做这些你就做那些，其他都不要乱做。大陆是法律说可以都不要乱做。OK, always remember. Okay, see you next week.